Making it to the NBA is almost impossible. Since 1949, the NBA has had 4,373 players. Some leave a lasting impact and become beloved celebrities known for their incredible play, while others might never see the court.
My boy, how many minutes you playing tonight? You getting in? 0?
Some players have had careers that were less than a minute long, yet other players play up to 15 years in the league and fly completely under the radar because they never reached superstar status. The NBA is the best of the best competition. Regardless of if a player is making a significant impact, just being there is impressive, and when a player can stay around for years, it deserves appreciation. It's a brutal league. With competition so elite, it's hard for newcomers to shine. In the face of such daunting competition, it's essential to recognize the unsung heroes of the NBA. Those players who might not have achieved superstardom, but carved out enduring careers in the league. These are the NBA's most underrated accomplishments.
You don't realize how hard the NBA is until you really are in the NBA.
Oh, Ingram 3, yes!
Miles
Drive
Make it Thaddeus Young.
Yes!
Point nine!
Yes!
A bucket here would be huge. The switch. Ish pulls up. Yes! Ish Smith!
It's hard as to get in this NBA. We make it look easy. I want to be honest, like this is hard to make the NBA. Stop acting like this is the NBA is just this league. Got 60 every year that's coming in and out. The league is hard.
4 players had careers that lasted less than a minute. Tyler Davis played in the NBA for a whole of 54 seconds. Andrew Pankos played for 43 seconds, and Alex Scales played a whopping 9 seconds in the NBA. But one man had a shorter career than all of them. Jameson Curry has the record for the shortest NBA career ever at 3.9 seconds. Someone who was out of the league this quickly you might not think was that good, but Curry was a bucket. He had one of the best high school careers ever. He averaged 40 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, and 6 assists per game during his senior year. This dominant high school performance led him to have a full ride to Oklahoma State University. At OSU, he was a lights-out three-point shooter with 17.3 points per game on 41% shooting from 3 during his junior year. Some would say he was the best shooter named Curry in college basketball this year, as he shot better than Steph Curry from 3. Jameson Curry looked like a legit future NBA prospect, and he made the decision to declare for the NBA draft after his junior season. Curry was drafted 51st overall in the 2007 NBA draft by the Chicago Bulls, where they had no room for him and sent him to the D-League. Jameson was waived by the Bulls after playing a whole year in the D-League, and he bounced around playing overseas and in the D-League until 2010, when the Los Angeles Clippers gave him a 10-day contract. Jameson finally had his opportunity. In a game versus the Boston Celtics in the third quarter, Curry got subbed in and played for a grand total of 3.9 seconds to end the third quarter. The Clippers never picked up Curry's 10-day contract, and it was the last time he ever played in the NBA. It's crazy how someone who broke records in high school and dominated D1 college basketball can be out of the NBA so fast. But it just shows how good the competition is. Yet some people don't fully understand this concept and think that they're better than NBA players. Let's meet Brian Scalabrini. For years, Scalabrini was the meme of the NBA. He rode the bench for his entire NBA career and was made fun of for being the last guy on the bench for the 2008 Boston Celtics championship. In this playoff run, Scalabrini played a total of 0 minutes. NBA fans called him a bum, made fun of him, and even said he shouldn't be in the NBA. But let's remember where Scalabrini came from. In his junior year at USC, Scalabrini was a stud. He was all-conference, averaging 17.8 points per game, 6 rebounds per game, and shot 40% from 3. This was good enough to help him get drafted in the second round of the 2001 draft by the New Jersey Nets. Scalabrini was always a great player, just the NBA has even better players, and he didn't stand out among other NBA players. Scalabrini retired at 32, and in his response to being called a bum for years, decided to start a TV show called The Scalenge, where he challenged average people to 1v1s who thought he was a bum. To the surprise of nobody, Scalabrini dominated every average Joe who challenged him during this series. Then, years later, a high school basketball player started chirping at Scalabrini. This led to a challenge, the 43-year-old Brian Scalabrini versus this high schooler for his shoes. Scalabrini went on to beat the high schooler 11-0, and after the game, he put things into perspective, saying, "I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me." This shows how good even the worst NBA players are. Each year, more young players come in and pose a threat to steal spots of veterans. And somehow, a man who holds multiple G League records took over 10 years to make the NBA. The year is 2007, and this is Andre Ingram, who just graduated from American University, where he emerged as the school's all-time leading scorer over 4 years. Eager for an NBA opportunity, he entered the draft in 2007, where he went undrafted, and then shortly after, the Utah Jazz drafted him in the 7th round of the D-League draft. After spending 4 years in Utah, he became one of the franchise's all-time leading scorers before the team relocated to LA. Ingram did not want to move again for his basketball career and initially quit when the team moved, but he loved the game too much and gave it another shot. He resumed his D-League career a year later, once they increased the pay with their Gatorade partnership and the D-League became the G League. Ingram joined the Los Angeles Defenders from 2011 onwards. Ingram's basketball achievements are nothing short of extraordinary. He's the all-time leader in games played, all-time leader in three-pointers made, a career 45% three-point shooter, the 3rd leading scorer all-time, and finally has the most offensive and defensive win shares of all time. Unfortunately for Ingram, even a performance this great was not enough to get him any NBA interest from 2007 to 2017. He was right on the edge of an NBA caliber player, but did not quite get good enough to make it. And the NBA lifestyle is much different than the G League. The NBA minimum contract is about $1.1 million, and the average G League salary at this time was around $30,000. For most of Ingram's career, he made under $30K and had to be a part-time tutor on the side to support his family. After a decade of persistence, the 32-year-old finally received an NBA call-up from the Los Angeles Lakers. He was asked to play for them for 2 games of the 2017-18 season. In his debut against the Rockets, Ingram showed everyone it was worth the wait.
Oh, Ingram 3, yes!
Are you kidding me? Where has this kid been? He should have been up with the Lakers all year.
The Lakers crowd chanted MVP, and the feel-good story became a celebration of an underdog realizing his dreams. Despite the Lakers' loss, Ingram's 19-point performance made him the oldest player since 1963 to score 15-plus points in an NBA debut. This made his achievement not just cool, but historic. This is just another example of how it really takes hard work and elite talent to make it to the NBA. This makes it even more impressive when we look up to players who had long careers. The next few players we will discuss all had 15-plus year careers in the hardest league in the world, yet nobody ever talks about them. Starting with AC Green, the man who might have the most unbreakable record in NBA history. AC Green was drafted 23rd overall by the Los Angeles Lakers in the 1985 NBA draft. Green was thrown in the rotation of the dominant Showtime Lakers. Since the start of his rookie season, he was counted on to be a reliable defensive wing. Green was known for giving basketball his all, no matter what. Green missed 3 games his second year in the league with a torn ligament in his thumb. Green quickly returned and at first played with a cast on, and after his injury, he never missed a game again. In years 3 and 4, AC Green was a starter for the 1987 and 88 Lakers, who won back-to-back championships. Green played all 82 games for the Lakers over the next 4 seasons before he was moved to the Phoenix Suns. Then, in Phoenix, Green played 4 more seasons without missing a game. In 1996, his final year in Phoenix, he was traded to the Dallas Mavericks and got the opportunity to play an extra regular season game. So, as expected, Green ended up playing 83 games that year. After playing 3 seasons without missing a game in Dallas, Green returned to the Lakers in 1999 to play, of course, every single game. Green jumped in as a starter and a key contributor to help Shaq and Kobe get their first ring together. It's crazy to think that someone who helped Kareem and Magic win a championship was still around all 14 years later to help Shaq and Kobe win a championship. For reference, Kareem was 35 years older than Kobe Bryant. After this championship, Green signed with the Heat, where he would play every single game. Green retired in 2001 and left basketball with one of the most unbreakable records of all time, playing in a staggering 1,192 straight games. Green never missed a game from November 19th of 1986 all the way up until his final game on April 18th of 2001. For his career, he averaged 28.6 minutes per game, so he was not just riding the bench, he was putting his body on the line every night for the streak. Green played through many injuries and illnesses. One game, Green even got his tooth knocked out, and that didn't stop him from playing. In the modern NBA, with many players missing games just for load management, we may never see this again. This is the type of player that every coach wants in their starting lineup. While we're talking about it, let's think about the most perfect lineup of all time. Many people would have Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, or of course, you need Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Collectively, these players have 15 MVPs, 18 championships, and 57 All-Star appearances. But wait, who's that last guy? Thaddeus Young? Why in the world is he in a graphic with these players? It turns out he actually belongs. This graphic shows the only players in NBA history to play 800 games and average 13.5 points per game, 5.9 rebounds per game, 1.4 steals per game, and shoot 49% from field and 30% from three. This graphic is hilarious and maybe a little too specific, but this graphic might be the thing that Thad Young is best known for on the internet. But when you look at his whole career, it's nothing short of magnificent. Young was drafted in 2007, 12th overall by the Sixers. He was a quality starter for the Sixers for 7 seasons. He was a reliable power forward who gave it his all every night. With Young, you knew what you were getting each night. He was super durable, played great defense, shot efficiently around the rim, and hustled like no other player. Young, after his 7 years with the Sixers, bounced around from team to team for the next 9 years of his career, playing on the Timberwolves, Nets, Pacers, Bulls, Spurs, and Raptors. He saw consistent minutes everywhere he went over this span. Even in the year 2024 so far, he's still started in 6 games. Young has never been the most talented player on the court, but his hustle has been key to keeping him in the league for 16 years. If you need a player to give a little extra effort, to dive for a loose ball, to take charge, or to give the extra effort on the offensive glass, then Thad Young is your guy. The hustle Young displayed was recognized in 2020 through 21, where he led the NBA in charges per minute and loose balls recovered while not even starting. He won the newly added NBA Hustle Award, and there's no more fitting player for this award than Young. In my opinion, this award should be called the Thad Young Award. Young has had a great career, and I would not be surprised if he plays a few more seasons. Young has made $151 million in his NBA career, which is more than Michael Jordan made in his whole career. Now, that is excluding sponsorships and the Jordan brand, but I guess hustling and being durable has its perks. With all the fame and fortune of being an NBA player, there are some downsides, like the stress of being traded. Trevor Ariza was once traded 4 times in 7 days. Throughout his whole career, Trevor Ariza has been traded 11 times, and Ariza was not getting traded because he was bad. He was a player that every team could use. In the modern NBA, if you're not a superstar wing, you basically have to be a 3-and-D player to get minutes. And Trevor Ariza is one of the best 3-and-D role players of all time. In his career, he's finished top 20 in Defensive Player of the Year voting 5 times. He's a top 30 all-time player in steals, and is consistently an above-average 3-point shooter. He also brought an impact that did not show up in the stat sheet, which is his toughness. For a skinny guy, Ariza never backed down from fights and always stood up for his teammates, even if it was against superstars or guys twice his size. Ariza was such an important part of every team he went to. For his career, he averaged 30 minutes a game, and even in his last few seasons in the league, he still got starting opportunities on a title contending team at 35 and 36. Unfortunately, in the NBA, when you're not a superstar, you're always expendable, and Ariza caught the unlucky end of that. When reflecting on his career, Ariza has a great perspective.
I'm doing what I love to do.
Right.
And it don't matter what jersey it is or what city. I looked at it as, my family.
Somebody wanted me.
No, my family got to see different parts of the country.
Right.
And I'm still playing at the top level in the sport that I chose to play in.
As long as a player continues to love basketball and keep a good mindset, that can help a player transition to any team. And despite being traded 11 times in his career, Ariza has not played on the most teams in NBA history. That record is held by Ish Smith. Smith spent all 4 years in college at Wake Forest and is second in school history in assists. Despite the collegiate success, he went undrafted in the 2010 draft. After that draft, Smith signed to the Houston Rockets. His early NBA career was marked by frequent moves between the Rockets NBA team and D-League team. In February of 2010, Smith was traded to the Memphis Grizzlies, which began the start to his journeyman career. The next season, Smith was waived by the Grizzlies 2 days later. Smith was claimed off waivers by the Golden State Warriors. Smith played 6 games for the Warriors before he got waived again. Right after being waived, Smith was signed by the Orlando Magic, where he spent the rest of his season. He re-signed with the Magic, and mid-next season he was traded to the Milwaukee Bucks, where he finished the rest of the year. In the 2013 offseason, Smith was traded to the Phoenix Suns. In this season, Smith finally got a consistent role as he did a great job as the Suns' backup point guard. However, on July 15th, 2014, he was waived by the Suns. Smith was getting moved so much he said he would never look for apartments in each city, and he would just stay in hotels or with teammates. A few days later, Smith signed with the Houston Rockets. However, he was waived by the Rockets after appearing in 7 preseason games. This looked like it could be the end for Smith's NBA career. He considered giving up or playing overseas, but on November 7th, 2014, Smith signed with the Oklahoma City Thunder to help them deal with numerous injuries. In this season, Smith was traded to the New Orleans Pelicans. He was subsequently waived by the Pelicans later that day. 3 days later, Smith signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. Smith found himself as a part of a team that was trying to put together the worst roster possible to tank. Although, Smith had something else to say about this. The Sixers' offensive numbers massively improved after acquiring Smith as their starting point guard. He went on to average 12 points and 6.1 assists in 27.1 minutes per game for the Sixers in 2014 through 15, all career highs. This season finally earned him status across the league as more than just a guy that was on the bench. This led Smith to signing with the Wizards for the 2015 season. However, he was waived by the Wizards after appearing in 5 preseason games. A month later, Smith was claimed off waivers by the New Orleans Pelicans. He played great in New Orleans with multiple 13-plus assist games throughout this year. Before the 2015 trade deadline, Smith was traded back to the Philadelphia Sixers. Smith was able to shine here once again as the Sixers' starting point guard in every game he played. In the 2016 offseason, Smith signed with the Detroit Pistons, marking the 10th team he's played for in 7 seasons. This was the longest stint of his career, as he spent 3 seasons in the Motor City and was a great all-around role player. Ish was even able to buy a house for the first time in his NBA career. In Detroit, he's had some great moments. Like this layup right here might be the best in-game layup I've ever seen, and it's never talked about. Although, when he became a free agent, the Pistons were no longer interested in him, and unfortunately, Smith found himself having to move again to look for a new job. In 2019, Smith signed with the Washington Wizards again, and stayed there as a backup for 2 years. Then, in the 2021 offseason, Smith signed with his hometown team, the Charlotte Hornets. This signing marked the 12th team Smith has played for in his career, which tied the record. Halfway through the 2022 season, Smith was traded back to the Washington Wizards and played here for the 3rd time in his career now. In 2023, Smith signed with the Denver Nuggets, making it the 13th NBA team he's played for in 13 seasons. He has had so many teammates over this ride, and it's truly inspired others, and in this season, he teamed up with another career-long journeyman, Jeff Green, to try and bring a championship to Denver. Going into the 2023 season, Jeff Green was one of the oldest active NBA players at 37 years old. Green has been along so long that when he started his career, he was drafted by the Seattle Supersonics, an NBA franchise that hasn't been around in 16 years. Although, Jeff Green's career started off super rocky. Green was drafted 5th overall, and it looked like he might be a bust, as injuries and lack of development early on led him to never reaching his ceiling. Then, his career almost came to an end when he had an emergency heart surgery and missed his entire 5th year in the NBA. Green thought this was the end for his NBA career, and even went back to college and completed his degree. Doctors said he might never be able to return to basketball, and he wouldn't be able to last more than 5 years in the NBA. Green desperately wanted to prove doctors wrong, but it was a steep road ahead to return to the NBA.
Like getting up from your bathroom, from your bedroom to go to the bathroom, I was out of breath. And that's when I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like, it was, that road to get back on the court was the toughest road I've ever been on in my life.
Jeff Green did not want his career to end there. He went on to not only work hard to return to the NBA, but he went on to play 17 years and counting in the league. He never reached his superstar status, but was able to craft a job as a perfect role player. Through his whole career, he was an elite athlete who can play forward or center. Green brought energy everywhere he went, and is regarded as one of the NBA's best in-game dunkers. Despite never landing long-term deals, Green always found a team that wanted him. He's played for 11 teams in his career, and has had 263 different teammates, which is an NBA record. Jeff Green has played with so many teams that you can connect his teammates he's played for with any NBA player in the NBA's top 75 within 6 moves or less. For example, Jeff Green was teammates with Eton Thomas, who was teammates with Michael Jordan. This game with Jeff Green gets so fun because you can connect him to almost anyone from any era within 6 moves. Don't believe me? Jeff Green was teammates with Shaq, who was teammates with our buddy AC Green, who was teammates with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was teammates with Oscar Robertson, who was teammates with Bob Cousy, who was teammates with Sonny Hertberg, who was teammates with Ozzie Schechtman. Who is Ozzie Schechtman? Well, he's the first person to score a point in an NBA game. Yeah, Jeff Green has played with a lot of people and had a lot of memorable moments. But nothing will top what happened in the 2023 season. Jeff Green, at 37, after barely playing center his whole career, stepped in as the backup center for Nikola Jokic on the Nuggets. Green brought energy on both ends of the floor and helped the Nuggets make it to the NBA Finals. Jeff Green was joined on this team with Ish Smith. These two played a combined 27 years on 23 different teams. And finally, these two career journeymen were able to reach the greatest achievement in basketball.
It's over! At last, the long wait is over. After 47 years, the Denver Nuggets can finally call themselves NBA champions.
You just stay with it, man. You never know when your name is going to get called, but when it's called, you got to be ready. So, for me, it was about just, staying in the gym, being ready, being there for my teammates. All for this moment,
Man, listen, 13 long years, hopefully my journey, inspires other people, man. It's been great. This is what it's all about, man.
As these two players won the championship, nobody looked down on them, since they weren't the star. They were embraced and loved by all fans and teammates. Everyone might not be familiar with Jeff Green, Ish Smith, Trevor Ariza, Thad Young, AC Green, or Brian Scalabrine, but these men are legends to basketball. Just like the famous superstars, making it to the NBA should never be overlooked.
Just because someone's not a superstar doesn't mean they're a bum.
And sometimes the nobodies of the league are the ones who have the most heart and passion.